A lot of people avoid conflict, because they think it'll go poorly. Or people get angry with conflict, and make the conflict into a big argument, and then it goes poorly. And one of the things I coach a number of CEOs who are not good with conflict. They will assign it to someone else, and that's okay. If you're a gifted CEO or a founder and you have invented all the intellectual property, you can bring in a hitman to do those difficult conversations. And investors, as long as you have someone to do them, they'll say, well, it'd be nice if the CEO or founder could have those conversations, but at least they have the COO who can do it for them. But I'm working with a number of people who say, I do it everywhere in my life, and I need to stop it. And an insight that we've discovered in working together is people who avoid conflict have trouble being proactive in interpersonal issues. They can be proactive with strategy, vision, and all that. But when it comes to interpersonal stuff, they get nervous. They're afraid the other person's going to escalate. And so what I've been coaching them on is, if you are proactive, that person you have problems with will often calm down because you're taking charge of the situation without being controlling. And what does proactive mean? Is you go up to someone that you've been avoiding and you proactively and calmly say, our working together has really taken a wrong turn. And, and I think it's time to see how to fix it. I'm not exactly sure what the solution is, but let's set a time to see if we can talk it through, because I want to look forward to seeing you, and I don't look forward to seeing you, and I want to fix that. But can you see how proactive and calm that is, as opposed to just avoiding, if I say something, they're going to snap at me, and then I'm going to be all upset. So the more proactive you can be, people like it. They respect that kind of leadership.
For me, conflict is very healthy when done in the right way, with the right sensitivity and the right care, and so on and so on. But I thrive on conflict, not for the negative connotation, because of the ability that conflict for me isn't about telling somebody I'm right, you're wrong. Conflict is, I'm curious about why you are doing what you are doing, or you're saying what you're saying. I'm just curious, make me understand. And then suddenly you have this flowing, unfiltered conversation that is very, very, very healthy. But the problem you've got, and you're absolutely right when you say about people avoid it, because it's like playing tennis. How do you get good at tennis? You have to play it frequently. How do you get good at golf? You have to play it frequently. And if you never have the difficult conversation, or you avoid the difficult conversation, you'll be worried about it all your life. When you learn and you practice and you do it, it then becomes natural. And you become more powerful for it, because you can deal with the real challenging elements in life in a really great way that invariably creates a great outcome. But it is, it's like we're fearful of our shadows, and we've got to learn not to be.
Yeah, absolutely. Our mutual friend, Gary Ridge, he has he's the chairman emeritus of WD-40, which everybody in the world loves. And he has something called the Learning Moment. That's now his company. And when he talks about WD-40, he said, we don't make mistakes here. We have learning moments. And our whole culture is, if something didn't work out, what'd you learn from it? What can you get from it? Well, how can you keep that from happening? What did it teach you about the problem? What did it teach you about life? And he really lives that. And so I think I loved what you said, that it's a chance to be curious. It's a chance to ask yourself, gee, they seem upset. I wonder what they're upset about. I wonder what, from their point of view, I did or I failed to do that ticked them off.
And one of the ways we talk about our manager and the coaching style is we say to them to go to your teams and uncover the things that matter. And the way you uncover it is you say to your teams, whoever it is, individually, one-to-ones, I'm really curious, is there anything I can do differently or do better to help you? Rather than tell me what you think of me. But the key is you have to be strong and humble, and your ego has to be in your pocket, and you've got to be prepared to listen to it, not justify it, respond to it. You just got to listen to it. And before you know where you are, people then suddenly go, wow, what a great conversation that was. And then by default, you will, whether you like it or not, even subconsciously start to adjust your behavior. And it only goes from strength to strength. And then you become trustworthy, you become rock solid, you become, the person, the go-to person. And everybody then says, wow, what can I now do for him? And it creates this cycle, but somebody's got to have the courage to start the wheel going, and then the wheel will get momentum.
That's so true. I interviewed a CEO, and when he has meetings with his executive team, I thought this was brilliant. He says, I start each meeting, we meet every couple of weeks. The first thing we talk about is any elephants in the room.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought that was brilliant.
Yeah.
So they have a culture of what is something that is obvious to any of us that we're not addressing, that is getting in the way of our succeeding. And I thought, what a great practice to have.
Reflecting on your life, your experiences, your ups and downs, all the things you've been through, and the life lessons that you've gained along the journey. If you could only say one thing, what would you say you were most grateful for?
I collect quotes, and there's one quote that knocked all the other quotes off the table. And I got tons of quotes that I've collected. And it comes from Dr. Shani Duparan, who started Project Forgive with Desmond Tutu, and they were nominated for a Nobel Prize. And so what I'd like to leave you and your audience with is forgiveness is accepting the apology you will never receive.
Wow. I love quotes as well. That's great. That's a great quote.
Can I share a tip that will change everyone's life?
Of course you may. Please do.
This is what you do if you want to retrofit your intimate relationship with the adoration that you and your partner once felt for each other. If you want to retrofit it with how you felt about each other and looked and loved each other, here's the tip. You reach out to the person, and you have to say, I want to run something by you. And there's three questions. There's three parts to it. The first one is, have I ever made you feel that I don't respect you or like you? They're going to go, what? Which is a yes. And then you say, take me to the time when my not respecting or liking you, where your hurt crossed over into anger and resentment. And then they'll share that with you. And even if you don't remember you, and they're going to be crying, by the way, because they're getting this up and out and off their chest. And you say, look at me. And then you look at them, and here's the third part. I did that. So you got to own up to it. That's what they're living with. That's what they're holding against you. I did that. And I've done that on too many occasions. You deserve better than that. I'm going to fix it. And I'm sorry.